Adesuwa, the queen who thought she couldn't fall. Power is a dangerous thing. It makes people believe they are unstoppable, that they can take anything, do anything, and answer to no one. But I have seen something greater than power. Justice. And when justice comes, it never hesitates. This is the story of Adesuwa, a queen so bold, so fearless, and so ruthless that she thought nothing could ever bring her down. She ruled with an iron grip, forcing people to obey, silencing those who resisted, and destroying anyone who stood in her way. She believed no one could touch her. No one could challenge her. But in the end, the very walls of her palace became her prison, and the people who once bowed before her became the ones who would end her reign. Adesuwa was not born in this land. She was a princess from a faraway kingdom, a land of wealth, a land of idols, a land where people bowed before a god of wood and stone, believing he could give them rain, food, and power. She grew up knowing nothing about the one true God. And when she married King Femi, she did not just bring riches and beauty, she brought her gods, her beliefs, and her own rules. But she did not just introduce this strange god to the people. No. That would not have been enough for her. She forced it upon them. She built shrines. She appointed false priests. She declared war on those who still served the God of their ancestors. The prophets. Hunted down. The people who refused. Silenced. No one dared to challenge her. No one stood against her. Until one day, a simple vineyard started a chain of events that changed everything. A man named Adeola owned this vineyard, a beautiful piece of land passed down for generations. One day, King Femi saw it, admired it, and decided he wanted it. He went to Adeola and offered him money, land, anything, but Adeola refused. "This land is my inheritance," he said. "I cannot sell it." Now, Femi was king. He could have taken it by force. He could have ordered his guards to remove Adeola. But instead, he returned to his palace, lay on his bed, and refused to eat. The king of the nation, the ruler of the people, sulking like a child who didn't get his way. But Adesuwa was not weak. She saw her husband's disappointment and laughed. "Is this how a king behaves?" she asked. "Are you really going to let a common man refuse you?" She did not wait for an answer. She acted. She forged letters in the king's name. She spread lies about Adeola, accusing him of crimes he did not commit. And because her word was law, the people believed her. Adeola was dragged from his home, taken into the streets. And then, he was stoned to death. The news reached Adesuwa. And with a wicked smile, she turned to Femi. "The vineyard is yours now," she said. And just like that, the land was theirs. She thought no one saw. She thought no one would stop her. But someone had seen everything. And justice was coming. A man named Samuel, a prophet of God, stood before Femi. His voice thundered through the palace. "Have you murdered a man and taken his land?" Femi had no answer. Then, Samuel spoke the words that would seal Adesuwa's fate. "In the same place where the dogs licked up the blood of Adeola, they will lick up your blood as well. And as for you, Adesuwa, the dogs will devour your body by the walls of your own palace." Femi was terrified. But Adesuwa, she laughed. She mocked the warning. She thought nothing could touch her. She had power. She had control. She was queen. She was untouchable. Or so she thought. Years passed. Femi was gone. Adesuwa remained in her palace, still ruling, still believing she was safe. But war was coming. And so was Well. A warrior. A man with a mission. A man sent to bring justice. The streets trembled under the weight of his army. Horses charged forward. Swords clashed. The shouts of battle echoed through the city. Adesuwa heard the chaos outside her palace walls. The sound of men dying. The sound of power shifting. She knew what was coming. But she did not run. Instead, she painted her eyes, dark and bold. She put on her royal robes, dressed in her finest. She stepped to the window, her head held high, her face calm, her expression unshaken. She looked down at Whale and his men, her voice smooth, almost mocking. "Have you come in peace, Whale?" she called out. But Whale did not answer her. He did not even acknowledge her words. Instead, he lifted his gaze past her, looking at the servant standing behind her. And in a voice that sent chills through the air, he asked, "Who is on my side?" For the first time, Adesuwa felt it. The shift. The power she had held for so long, gone. The servants, the ones who had once bowed before her, now looked at each other. Then, they looked at her. And before she could even react, they grabbed her. Dragged her. Threw her from the window. The air rushed past her ears. The world spun. The moment stretched, eternal. And then, she hit the ground. Her body shattered against the stone. Blood poured onto the earth. And then, the dogs came. Just as Samuel had prophesied, just as God had declared. By the time Whale's men went to find her body, there was almost nothing left. Adesuwa thought she was above the law. She ruled with fear. She silenced her enemies. She mocked the warnings of God. But in the end, her own people turned against her. Her own palace became her prison. And the dogs came. Because no matter how powerful someone thinks they are, no one escapes justice. And when the time comes, even the mighty will fall. Now tell me, does this story sound familiar? Who do you think Adesuwa really was?